Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name. In the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. Payroll problems, they vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. And GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J., Kevin J., taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. The tax act's just a paper myth unless you work for CRA, no ifs. He buys your corp, clears every cent, then laughs while walking from the government. Restructure payroll, skip the fees, fire the tax man with graceful ease. He's winning battles in the courts each day. Soon he'll cost the feds $1 billion. Hooray! Kevin J., Kevin J., CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius
Welcome to the Tax and Money Show. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This show runs absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on freedomreport.ca. We are simultaneously broadcasting on Instagram, TikTok, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Restream, DLive, Rumble, another Rumble channel, a bunch of Facebook pages. We are absolutely everywhere because we have to be. Why do we have to be? I don't know, because left-wing maniacs still seem to run most of the social media platforms out there. So nonetheless, everyone, we're going to talk about tax, and more tax. This is your questions answered again. We didn't really have a topic that we wanted to talk about yet. There are a couple of topics that I'm going to bring to the table here that you're absolutely going to love, but I'm going to wait just a little bit because there's something that Mark Carney said he's going to announce, and let's see what he announces before I start flipping off at the gums about his announcement. In the meantime, if you have questions, everyone, just start getting them into the chat room. If you are here, this is TikTok. Get them ready, put them right here. I'll get to them as fast as I can. Same thing with Instagram. Being right there, you put them in. If you're on Rumble, you see right about here, everyone, right there. Hit the thumbs up button, share the broadcast out. I will be checking all the chat rooms tonight, every single one of them, to see where your questions are and to see where you are in the world if you wanted to discuss that. If you have questions that are region specific, city specific, province specific, if you want to talk about tax, crypto, tax again, more tax, GST, HST, payroll, income tax, corporate income tax, hidden tax, any kind of tax at all you want to talk about, I'm here to answer these questions. Now, you got to keep in mind, everyone, albeit I do know a lot about law, I'm not an expert in family law. I know family law, but I'm not an expert. So please don't get me involved in divorce proceedings and custody battles. That stuff takes a monumental amount of time. It makes money for nobody except for the lawyers. So, work it out. All right. That's my advice to everyone out there. Work it out. I got divorced almost 5 years ago, and I told you what happened. We saw a lawyer at 12 o'clock, myself and my ex. At the time, she was the wife. 20 minutes later, we were no longer a married couple, and we went out and had lunch right afterwards. That's how you're supposed to work things out as adults. Stay the hell away from the courts because the lawyers are just going to drain all your resources. Let's avoid family court questions. Let's talk about tax, money, getting rich, and the whole 9 yards associated with that. I'll start over here on Instagram. Dover Highway says, also the roads are being reconstructed. The business is being hit. Can we get some rebates because of business loss? Any rebates that you're going to get in the tax game, everybody, we can get those rebates for you simply by ramping up all your expenses. This is the big thing in the taxation game, because every single solitary thing that you put onto a tax return in Canada is voluntary information. All of it is voluntary. None of it needs to actually be done. And I just realized something. The air conditioner and the fans are off. I'm already sweating under this t-shirt. Hold on. And it's my fault. I did it. All right, there we go. Yeah, okay, I'm in a tropical country, so yeah, it gets hot in here pretty fast if you leave those things off. My fault. You want to make sure that everything that you're putting on there is only going to help you and not hurt you. Everything's voluntary. Corporate tax, personal tax, it does not matter which tax return you're filing, it's all voluntary. So for yourself there, Dover, and for everybody else out there, you don't have to keep every single solitary receipt. It's crazy that people show up sometimes, like they actually fly here to Panama to do their taxes, and they literally bring 2 suitcases full of paperwork. Even when I say don't bring your suitcases full of paperwork, they do. So they've got 200-300 pounds worth of paperwork. You don't need all that. All you do is keep your own ledger on what your expenses are, and we report those. And if we happen to report higher expenses, good for us. So you can always get yourself a rebate. By the way, if any of you out there have kids, here's your other rebate. If you have kids under 18, let's get you the child tax benefit credit. That's what you do. You need to have that credit. Until your kids turn 18, make sure you get that all of the time. So with roads being constructed, everybody, the trick here is just to not in Canada. It's all leaving the country anyway. So let's get you, sir, to keep all your money in your pocket, please. CJR says, how do I approach a GST or HST audit letter? Let me have a look at that letter, but the auditors will always tell you that they have the right to see your stuff. No, they don't. The Income Tax Act says they have the right to review. But what that means, because the Income Tax Act is not law, is they essentially have the right to ask. But I've got the right to ask you as well. Hey, open up your underwear drawer and let me sniff everything inside. I have the right to ask that. You've got the right to say, ready? No. You have the right to say no. Just like when the CRA says, I have the right to come over and sniff everything inside your filing cabinet, you can say, what's that do? And what I've done before is send in very well-written letters telling them that we are going to decline the audit. I ban them from the property. I ban them from talking to me or my staff or my family for the rest of my life, for the rest of their lives. And I let them know that I'll conduct the audit for them. Just tell me what you're looking for, and I'll keep my eye open for it, okay? No, you don't have to cooperate with that nonsense. But you do have to reply to the letter to let them know, thank you for the glorious opportunity. At this time, we're going to decline. This letter also acts as a no trespass notice. Do not come to our property. We will call law enforcement. All right, some more questions here. Mitch, if you have emailed me, oh, Mitch, okay, you want to do the referral thing. All right, no worries, Mitch. Then we will have to talk about that. I'm fine. We'll talk about referrals. Everybody should be selling for me and so on. I have a question. With e-transfers, how do I continue getting e-transfers without getting audited? Okay, guys, you don't get audited because you do email money transfers. You don't get audited because you have credit card transactions. It doesn't matter if you go to the grocery store and buy 17 cases of beer. All right, it doesn't matter. That's not what triggers an audit. Audits right now are some of them are random. Like that part is actually true when the CRA says that, but it's got nothing to do or where you spend money or who you spend money with. In a lot of cases, what they will do is they'll look at your tax returns, and sometimes things just don't line up. So they'll say, all right, this one kind of looks funny. Put it in a pile, and in that pile, it either gets ignored or they send out the audit letters. Like I said before, it doesn't matter if you get audited. Who cares? You're not going to cooperate with the audit. They will assess you if you don't cooperate with the audit, and then you appeal that. That's it. You appeal it. You object to it. That takes about 90 days. Fine. Now we go to tax court. That'll take a year or two. That gives you a year, sometimes two, to get all your books balanced, to get all your money out of your name and all your money out of that corporation, and there we go. So don't be afraid of this stuff, period. That's how you handle them. How do you avoid paying taxes in crypto in Canada? By shutting up, by keeping your mouth. Don't tell anybody about your crypto. I'm not telling a soul about my crypto. It belongs to me. I am not going to tell you anything about my crypto. I'm not making a phone call to the CRA. Hi, Mr. CRA. I make crypto money and I want you to tax me. I'm a loser who's afraid of you. Tax me, please. You think I'm doing that? Or you think I'm going to continue to collect and spend my crypto as I see fit? I actually made a video today in Panama. I like it very much. It's called Gato Negro. It's a pink building with a big black cat. Gato Negro is black cat, the black cat restaurant. The owner is kind of coincidentally a very friendly black dude from one of the Caribbean islands. I forget which one. Every time I walk in, he gets over, he pulls my chair up for me, sits me down. Sometimes I get, he works the fingers in my shoulders because I complained once in his restaurant. So he's also a massage therapist. So this restaurant owner serves me the best meatballs in the city, and I get a massage out of the deal. Damn. Well, the building that his restaurant's in, it's only 2 stories. It's now for sale. the sign literally, just boom, the whole thing. Right now, you would, if you bought this thing, you would get 2 tenants, one being the Gato Negro restaurant, one being a barber shop right next door to it, and there's 5 apartments on the top floor, which are bringing in rental income. So I don't know if that interests any of you, but what I'm saying here is the world, aside from Canada, is all adopting crypto. Collect it, earn it, stake it, trade it, whatever you got to do, and use it for your own advantage, but don't report it to the CRA. The Canadian government doesn't even recognize it as money. So how can they tax it if it's not recognized as money? I'll tell you this also, the CRA, they don't even count collector cars as anything with value. So if you buy and you turn around, you flip it for 100, technically that's a $70,000 capital gain, but they don't see the value in cars. So how could they possibly expect you to pay tax on something that they haven't even assigned a value to themselves? It's moronic. Just buy and sell whatever you want, and you need to get a corporation set up. When can we meet up? We could do that tomorrow. If you need to get a corporation done, I think Christine or Randy have been in touch with you already, Armadantes. So please let us know that that's what you're ready to go, and we can get that done for you. Are e-transfers a safe way to receive money and to not get audited? Sure. I mean, the audits are going to come mostly when you do tax return. If you never did them in the first place, then you'd never have a tax bill. There would never be an auditor contacting you. You'd never have to worry about any of these things. But yes, email money transfers are safe. Dover highways. The property taxes are killing us. Is the only tax in Canada you have to pay. It's the only one. For some reason, municipalities have got a pretty good grab on municipal, not properties within the municipality. But you don't have to pay income tax. You don't even have to pay the payroll withdrawals, or sorry, the payroll holdbacks. They'll pester you for it. They'll chase you for it, but you don't have to pay it. So you really could do quite well if all of you just stopped snitching on yourselves with those ridiculous tax returns. What if they do an assessment and say you owe money because you didn't file? How do you reverse this? As soon as the assessment comes over, you object to it. They actually cannot state that their assessment is valid if you're objecting to it, saying, hey, you say I owe $30,000. I didn't do it. Just that one in court in a moment. Craig says firearm laws piss me off in Canada while it's free for all on the streets. Yeah, all the ethnic groups are after each other. I get that. You know, the Muslims, the Palestinians, the Jainists, the Hindus are not getting along. They don't like each other. They really have, especially the Kazakhstanis. The Khalistanis, my mistake. They don't like each other. So right now it's a free-for-all. They're shooting and stabbing each other all over the place, and innocent people are getting hit in the crossfire. Yet, if you are a Canadian citizen and you put the trigger lock on your gun, you put the gun in a box, you lock the box in your trunk, and you drive from your house to the gun range. If you forget to call the cops, this pistol from my house to the gun range, if you forget to do that and they pull you over, they'll arrest you for possession of an illegal firearm. The police are the problem in Canada. And I was never one to say defund the police. I never said that stuff. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now because the cops are of no value to the people. The cops are of value to the criminals because they're stopping you and me from criticizing all the criminality going on. Anyway, I agree with you on that one. It's kind of off topic, but I definitely say that I agree with you on the gun laws in Canada. What if they pull your state, Jay Danke says, what if they pull your bank statements and do a high net worth? Well, what if they pull your bank statement? First off, they can't pull them. What they do is they put a request for information into the bank. If the bank turns that information over, sue the bank. And if you've got money in the bank, lots of it, and they start asking questions, what's the correct answer, everybody? What's the correct answer? We've gone through this many times. When someone starts sniffing around, asking questions, the correct answer is go F yourself. Never call me again. Who the hell do you think you are asking me about my money? Who do you think you are asking me questions about my family? Right? And you got to be angry when you talk to these people. You cannot give them any kind of break at all. Never answer their questions. So if they say you have a high net worth, they still have to prove it. That's why you object and appeal everything. The CRA will never sue you. They will not sue you. They don't sue people. We did a check today. We ran it through 5 different AI programs. The question was simple. Tell us every single court case you can find in the canli.org database where the Canada Revenue Agency is the plaintiff. ChatGPT said there was possibly between 8 and 18 in 10 years. 8 and 18, not 1,800, not 18,000, 18. Yeah, 18, as the Français say, huh? 18 lawsuits. Perplexity said none. What does it mean when the AI systems out there that can search an entire website in less than 3 minutes come back and tell you that the CRA is never the plaintiff in a lawsuit? Well, what does that mean? It means they're never the plaintiff. What does that mean even further? It means they don't file lawsuits. Why are you all afraid of these people? They're idiots. They call you and issue threats on the phone. Start screaming at them. Start giving them a really difficult time. Start cracking racist jokes if you need to. It doesn't matter what you got to do, but do not capitulate and do not ever show weakness with these creatures of the night. It's kind of annoying as a guy. I'll be 54 in 2 weeks. It is irritating to listen to men my age. Well, yeah, CRA, I don't want to go to jail. Who talks like that? Oh, yeah. 90% of men in Canada talk like that. God, you got to go on the attack. As soon as someone becomes an aggressor against you, you know how our mothers would always say, oh, just ignore them. They'll stop. Worst advice ever. Someone becomes hyper aggressive with you, you become hyper aggressive back. Even worse. Remember what happened to me, everybody, 7 years ago when all the newspapers chose to call me Islamophobic and a few other phobics. Remember that? And then I get a whole bunch of people I've never met and don't know would just get onto my Twitter accounts, my Facebook pages, and call me Islamophobic and a hater and a racist. So what was I doing? I was calling them the same things 5 times as much and 5 times more creatively. What happened? That's when they all disappeared. You know, I ignored them for a while. It didn't work. I started attacking and they went away. You got to be on the attack. It's not like the 60s where people get bored. They don't. They keep coming at you because they're doing it behind a keyboard where it's really safe. So go on the attack. Same thing with the CRA. They do it from behind a phone. They do it from their own home offices, I might add. So go on the attack. Patty says, I had a stroke while I was in the hospital for months during negotiations. My neurosurgeon said I was not competent to sign off on child support. Okay, is there more to the story on that, though? Did you sign off on child support? If you did, then you've got to sue the individual that put that document in front of you. I'd do it now. I wouldn't wait on that. Do I have any reviews that are posted from previous clients that sold you their shares? Also, if we sell all of our shares, what about life insurance attached to the corporation? Do you want that? Well, is the life insurance a debt, or is the life insurance in a position to help you? If the life insurance is in a position to help you, then we're going to transfer it to a new corporation for you. If the life insurance is just a big debt burden, then I take the debt from you and everything's going to be fine. I'll cancel the policy after I take over the corporation. I could certainly organize you talking to a few people I bought corporations from. I would have no problem with that whatsoever. We got some really cool clients who jump in our chat rooms just to say hello. And thank you. So yes, I can arrange that for you. All right, let's have a look here. Sunish Store says, how much of my crypto gains can I deposit into my bank before they report it to the CRA? I don't know. Are you cashing your crypto out? Is that what you're doing? If you're cashing out crypto, just make sure that your transactions are less than $9,999.99, and FinTrack will have no reason to report them to anyone. All right, here's a comment. How do I stop the government from freezing my bank account and taking all my money? Okay, everyone, listen up. The government does not freeze your bank account. The banks freeze your bank account. And the banks do that just because they get a letter from the CRA called a requirement to pay letter, which the banks can simply refuse if they choose to. But because the banks launder money for the CRA, they're not going to give the CRA a difficult time. They are criminals that work arm in arm together all of the time. The banks are the one that lock them down. The way to protect yourself is to have a numbered corporation where you are 100% shareholder, you are not the director, and you have a bank account for that corporation that you live your entire life out of. There you go. That's all that it takes. If you are hiding yourself in a corporation and hiding your money in a corporation, they're not going to freeze the bank accounts. When filing taxes in Canada, how do we get the most dollar out of it? Oh man, that would be a whole show. There are so many methods that I will use that it would be a whole show. But are you talking personal or corporate, and what specifically were you looking to do? Let me know. Aaron says, so just stop filing my taxes. Okay. You got to be careful with that. It is okay to not file taxes, all right? But eventually, they'll send you a letter saying, you did not file your taxes. You have 30 days to file your taxes, or we will assess you. And that's when you make a phone call to the loser's phone number on the letter and say, hi, Mr. Loser, this is John Smith, and I understand you want me to do a tax return. I just got out of hospital. I had ass cancer. They removed my ass. And as a result of that, I'm now finally at home, and I would like to do my taxes for you. Could I have 120 days, please? Because I still don't have an ass. Whatever. Tell them anything. Who cares? Make shit up. It doesn't matter. Make things up. Lie. But don't sound weak when you do it. And if they say, yes, we'll give you 90, just say, thank you very much. And that in that 90-day period, you send in a tax return with your name and social insurance number on it, a signature, send it off. No numbers, just send it off. You've now met your legal obligation to the CRA. It is that simple. All right, on YouTube we have, do you want to sue the government for stealing $30,000? What do I do? Do I claim I did not qualify for CERB? All right, well, CERB is a completely different story, everyone. What I do with CERB is we send off a series of legal letters, 5 of them, in fact, where we tell them that they must prove that there was a debt in the first place, which they never do. And eventually we tell them, okay, lawsuit's coming. You chose not to cooperate. So here we go. And they always drop the CERB up at that point. They always wait for it to get to the last 0 hour before they do anything about it. It has to be done through legal letters, though, everybody. It's not just a phone call. CRF Mixer says, Kevin, I had to do my corporate taxes and I'm getting a refund, but I owe GST. Is the CRA going to withhold the return and put it on the GST debt? Yes. That's where honesty would come in, everybody. So if you're going to have me do your taxes and get you money back, you got to tell me the whole story. If you've got any outstanding debt, when I get you back, whatever I can get you back, they'll just keep it and put it towards the bill. All right, look, got a client, nice guy, didn't tell me the whole story. We got him back over $36,000. He got a check for $4 thousand. Why? Because he had an unemployment insurance claim that he didn't tell me about, and they just took his refund and put it on that. How heartbreaking is it to be close to a $40,000 return and only to get 10% of it because you didn't tell me the whole story. I will never cooperate with the Canadian government. It doesn't matter what subpoenas they issue to me. It doesn't matter what the Canadian government demands in the way of my client list or otherwise. They're not getting it. Yeah, what is the government? The government is run by mammals, all right, just humans, barely, who are not special in any way. They're born the same way the rest of us were. They're all here for the same reasons all of us are. Our fathers lied about wearing condoms. That's the only reason that they are here. That does not make them special. And I will never do what another human being says unless that human being is going to try to charm me. Yeah, buy me dinner, roast me up a little bit there, build me up a little bit, a little bit of an insult, a little bit of a compliment, and then hire me and pay me. That's when you get it. But the CRA, if they go and get a judge to write some stupid order, I'm not going to comply with it because the judge is not going to write the order to tell the CRA to pay me to get out of this chair. I'm not going to get out of this chair for anything less than $20,000. I'm not waking up to do anything for anyone, no matter who they are. I don't care that it comes from some fruitcake wearing a black dress and a red sash. I don't care. I always thought the system, the court system, it's a dog and pony show. It's a joke. It's a very sick joke. The joke's on us, of course, because we pay for it all. And the courts in Canada are not interested in justice or truth. They're just interested in theft from us. So no, I'm never doing a damn thing. That's why all of you out there, tell me the truth, the whole truth about your tax situation. I will get you back a monumental amount of money. But if you leave something out and you lose as a result of foregoing info towards myself, well, you're on your own. I can't fix it. I'm not going to fix it. I don't like people omitting things, and I don't like being lied to, especially when that lie is going to potentially interfere with my capacity to show you just how good I really am. You gotta tell me the truth. There we go. All right. Here we go. Same thing. No, I'm not married. Why does everyone ask that? Every show. No. It's funny. I always say no, and I never get any proposals. And if you're not rich, don't propose. All right. Because I'm wealthy, and I would only, at this particular point, entertain a very wealthy woman who's 36, 24, 36, gorgeous, like a dynamite 9 out of 10, maybe better. You got your own car, you got your own place. You got your own everything, because I'm not buying anything for you. That's it. You get to hang with me. That's good enough. All right. If you buy and sell crypto in Canada, it triggers an event. Would the platform send details to the CRA? The Canadian ones will. Yes. Canadian institutions are gutless, run by cowards who make money by lying to you and cooperating with the government. If it's American exchanges, European, African, South American exchanges, private exchanges, no, they're not going to share any of that. Yeah, I see that my Rumble is a bit choppy tonight, folks. I do apologize for that. What I'll do is I will upload a clean version of it right afterwards. So if anybody's on Rumble and you're getting irritated with it, you can head over to DLive, which is dlive.tv/Kevin J. Johnston. It's playing really smooth there right now. It's also on Twitch, although I forget what my Twitch handle is. I got just so many social media platforms. I have honestly forgotten what the names are on all of them. Let me just get the DLive. Yeah, DLive, everybody, is running smooth. So if Rumble's giving you a tough time, here you go. It's dlive.tv/Kevin J. Johnston. There you go. Have a quick peek for yourselves. Next question here. How am I doing today, bro? I'm doing just fine, and I appreciate the question. How are you? Alrighty. How do you connect with me to work for me? Just go through the website, put down you want to be a referral agent. on the contact form. Randy is currently in the room waiting for people to ask questions, so he'll get back to you very quickly. Stay true and stay blessed from Vancouver. Thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't been to Vancouver in 4 years now. Okay. On a multi-unit investment property, do you have to pay about 50% tax? How do you get around that? Here's my question. Why in the hell would you tell anybody that you have a rental property? And why in the hell would you tell the CRA, of all people, that you have a rental property, right? Why would you do that? If you've got a rental property, you put it into a numbered corporation, charge rent, pocket the money, and shut up. Just shut up. Stop reporting this stuff. Line 12,700 on your tax return is a capital gains line. Leave it blank. There's no law that says you have to fill it out. It's voluntary. Even the CRA staff will tell you that everything that you tell the CRA is voluntary. Stop volunteering information. Jay Danke says, can I ignore GST numbers and make more than 30K? All right, everyone. If you're going to go down the road of getting yourself a HST or GST number, you can do one of two things. You can just never do taxes again for the rest of your life, or you can always make sure your company is at a loss, in which case you will never owe GST. Eventually, they'll figure out that your corporation doesn't make money at all, and they'll just start to ignore you completely. It's always the best thing in the world that you can be on paper is broke. Be as rich as you want, but be broke on paper. Oh, and for all the young men under 30, make sure that any woman that you're dating or marrying believes you to be completely broke. Put your house into a numbered corporation, put all your money into separate numbered corporations, make sure the corporations are in different provinces where you are the shareholder, but not the director. And upon divorce, which inevitably will come, you're fine. She can't get half of anything. Tell her that just take off your pants. I'll give you one leg of these pants. This is all I own. Try that one. Just checking more questions here. Ian Jennick says, will they not just freeze your accounts or have the bank freeze your accounts if you don't pay tax? I covered that about 10 minutes ago. If you have a numbered corporation, which is a holding company, and you have yourself a bank account in that holding company, put your money there, never do taxes on it. No, because they're not going to be looking for that particular corporation. It's a brand new corporation. It doesn't do any commerce, and you're not talking about it. Jovi says, I've been filing my taxes for the last 10 years. Are you saying that it's okay to just stop filing taxes and they won't notice? Or does it only apply when I've never filed a tax return? No, what I was saying here, Jovi, and that's actually a good question, and I'm going to address this one now. The CRA only knows what you make if you're on a T4 or a T4A or a T5. The T4 slip in Canada is the one that your employer gives to the CRA that says, you made this much, we deducted this much, yay. The T4A, same thing, except it's for commission sales. I don't know why anybody would want to be on one of those. The T5 is for dividend or investment income. Dividend income, something you should all make if you own a corporation, but you should never report. That's where the CRA knows about you. So in that case, if you're on a T4, the employer has already taken taxes from you, at which point I would be putting down all of your legal expenses, your personal marketing expenses, your part-time job expenses that'll most likely be extremely high. Then we've got caregiver expenses, surgeries, all that stuff, anything at all. I could put all that in there to completely wipe out your tax bill. But if you're not on a T4, if you're on contract, then yeah, stop doing your taxes for say 3 or 4 years. They'll send a letter saying, we want you to do your taxes. Then just send them 3 or 4 tax returns with the number 0 on it. That's all. And just send them in. Because now at that point, if you're not on a T4, T4A, or T5, then they have no point of reference on what you would be making. and they'll just accept it. And they will carry on. All right. Here we go. I'm willing to give you a fist bump, buddy, but no, I would not marry you. But I'll use your advice. Okay. I think that you're a dude, so I appreciate you stating that you're not going to marry me. I'm sure you're a great guy, just on the dudes. Not even questioning, not even curious, just not. Alrighty. How do you get your bank account unfrozen? When people get their bank accounts frozen by the bank, we always go ahead and redo their taxes, and I bring the tax bill to zero, and then we threaten the CRA with a very large lawsuit, and guess what happens? The tax return arrives, the lawsuit arrives, and they will contact the bank to have the account unlocked, right? The banks are the criminals here. It's not the CRA. It is the bank who is locking your account, not the CRA. It's a filthy trick. People don't know their rights. File criminal charges against the bank managers. If 1 million of you got off your asses and filed charges against the bank managers who lock your accounts, even though they say, but it wasn't me, the letter, bleh. Who cares? File charges. Could you imagine if 1 million charges got laid inside of 1 month? How quickly the banks would make phone calls to CRA saying, listen, we got to have an emergency meeting. We're getting screwed here. All of our staff are getting arrested. No one's coming to work. You guys got to stop asking us to freeze bank accounts. You can put that kind of pressure on the banks, but you're Canadians. So you won't, unfortunately. By the way, why are there only 3,800 likes right here? Why would you guys know how it works? Come on, 2 fingers. Everyone, double tap. Get the double taps going right now, please. Everyone, start liking. The algorithm will pick up all those likes. It'll get this out into more homes, into more people's knowledge bases here. We need more eyeballs on this because we need to save people a lot of money. Joseph, thank you for the fan club. I appreciate that. Dover highways. If a lot is unserviceable as per a municipality, why do we get property taxes? Because the Municipalities Act, depending on the province and depending on what lawsuits were won in the past, it's typically only because the land exists within the corporation of the city. That's pretty much it. But I would have to know which province and which city. And then you'd have to do some cross comparisons on case law that was brought up either by the city or against the city to determine if you have a valid claim to not pay property tax on it. What's the difference between CRA and FINTRAC? Good question. FINTRAC is spelled FINTRAC. It started off as a small institution, like 10 people. It was supposed to look out for really large bank transfers, $1, $2 million, and then ask questions as to where the money came from and so on to find terrorists. Never worked. It's not like there's no Canadian spy agency or police department out there smart enough to find real terrorists. And besides, Canada is still the baby of the world. So there's a lot of spy agencies out there around the world that are terrifying individuals. There's a lot of criminals around the world who are positively terrifying individuals, the type of guys who own presidents of countries. So the Canadian government would have no way to stop any of these individuals doing absolutely anything. And that's why the Canadian government capitulates so much to the criminal underworld and just pegs everything on us. FINTRAC is not going to mess with any of those people. So FINTRAC, being as gutless as they are, realizing, yeah, we actually can't do the job that we were hired for. So let's turn this institution into a fiscal spy agency against Canadians. So now FINTRAC will report to the CRA anything over $10,000 in the way of a bank transfer or an email money transfer or so on. But what does the CRA do with that information if you don't cooperate with them? If you tell them to fungu, or you start cracking really racist, right? They're just rip-roaring, really awful, rude, vile things. They're going to give up. They're going to give up. The Ontario Labor Board has come at me on 5 separate occasions now. And I just say, I keep cracking really, really racist jokes and I make really awful comments to them. You know, like really sexist stuff. Yes, I'm actually proud of myself in some of the things that I've cooked up in my head to say to these people, knowing that they're so sensitive that they'll say things like, I'm just not going to call you anymore. You're so vile. Okay. Well, I guess I don't have to deal with this labor board case. This is awesome. Thank you. It's that easy to get government employees to give up on their investigations, especially if they're women, because they can't handle a guy like me or like Andrew Tate or anybody else who just doesn't care. It doesn't matter what they call me. I'm still going to say whatever I think is funny at that particular time. And believe me, when I've got government employees getting really upset with me, I find that incredibly funny. It's a source of entertainment for myself. So if you do work for the Canadian government out there, understand that you are a toy for my entertainment. You serve no other purpose to mankind. All right? Look at it that way. Can you get a tax compliance number if you haven't done corporate tax returns in 3 years? Can you get a tax compliance number? I don't know what a tax compliance number is. Could you rephrase the question, please? Appreciate that. People do HST fraud and can claim fake HST. Yeah, people do that all the time. People are claiming fake HST debts all the time because the system is really poorly designed. If anyone's figured it out by now, they could be a millionaire by just doing HST fraud. I don't do it because I don't need the headache of cops coming to my door. And I've made $2 million in the last 2 years not breaking the law. So I'm not going to start doing it now. Doesn't matter. Jay Danke says, we need to talk because I've got something good for you. I really hope it's carrot cake and a shamrock shake. I've had neither in a year. So let me know. Get a hold of me on my website, please. All right. What about the interest collected in a holding company? I don't bother with interest in bank accounts. For the record, everyone, the money I have in Canada stays in Canada for about a week, and it gets moved into crypto or it gets moved into the United States or into Panama or Grenada. I move my money out. It's just out. I'm actually taking a trip over to Mexico. If anybody wants to hang out and have some tacos in Mexico, I am going to head over there and open up a series of corporations and bank accounts that pay 12% interest, because Canadian banks pay what? 1%? Sometimes they pay 4%, but the only time that you ever have to give your social insurance number also to a bank to open up a corporate bank account is if you're going to get an interest earning account. I don't care about earning interest inside of Canada. Not interested. God, man, I've made so much money in crypto. Why the hell would I waste my time with the Canadian banking system? Period. Just a thought there, wealthy peasant. Just a thought. If I'm in the crypto market, should I put it into a numbered corporation? Well, if you are dealing with Canadian exchanges, yes. If you're dealing with American exchanges or Sri Lankan exchanges or wherever else, no. No, you don't have to at all. I still have not received a letter of reassessment. Do I need a letter to object? Yeah, you can't object to something until they have assessed you. That is correct. So whatever the CRA is up to, you got to wait for their letter to show up before you can file an objection to it. How do you file charges on a bank manager? Great question. You submit a letter to the bank manager and to every single staff member of the bank. You let them know that they are in possession of stolen property, and that would be your money. And you tell them that you have exactly 24 hours to return my money. Otherwise, you are guilty of the following offenses. Typically, it's theft over $5,000 and breach of trust. These are very serious crimes. They won't do it. You go straight to the courthouse and you lay a private information. That's what it's called. You're taking a private complaint to the court to have somebody charged criminally. And then you tell them that you want the cops to do the serving of the subpoena, and they will get a subpoena. They got to appear in court. They don't appear in court, a warrant goes out for their arrest. Just how it is. Everyone, look up how to file that paperwork. private informations, get it done. Hi, Kevin. I disputed 2 years, and after 16 months, they still have not assigned it to anyone. Okay. Well, in that case, you could hit them with a $10 million tort fraud lawsuit. That'll get their attention. You know, every single time the CRA gets hit with a lawsuit, they really pay attention. They really, really, really do. And I know this for a fact, by the way. Can the CRA take from your bank account? No. They ask the bank to give them your money, and the bank does the stealing on their behalf and gives it to them. That's why I'm saying you charge the bank. You charge, so you also sue the bank. It's the bank that did it, not the CRA who did it. The CRA just asked them to do it without a court order. There's never a court order, ever. What happens when they place a lien on your property until you pay? It's not a lien. They always do writs of execution, and they always use the Tax Court of Canada to get those liens. The Tax Court of Canada has no jurisdiction over equity, which means houses. So then we would instantly hit the CRA with a $10 million tort fraud lawsuit, serve it to them. In the meantime, we also file a motion with the court in the province in which you live to have the lien lifted until the lawsuit can be heard. If a court doesn't have jurisdiction, I covered tax court, by the way, on my show, did full 2 hours on tax court. On their own website, it says they have no jurisdiction over equity. So why are we doing what tax court says? It's fraud. So you got to hit them with the tort fraud lawsuit. Make sure you always, always, always fight back. I was accused of not having an expectation of profit in the 90s. I'm not familiar with that term. Could you clarify that, please? Preston Prio says, you are funny. Half of what you say is true, but you are hiding out of country. My father was destroyed by CRA with a fictitious assessment after he retired. They took every penny he ever had. He didn't sue them. He didn't file criminal charges. He didn't hide his money. He didn't put his money in numbered corporations. He didn't do anything. He let them do it. That's the problem. Everyone just lets the CRA get away with it. They say, well, okay, it's the government. Yeah, they can do what they want. No, they can't. It's the government. You got to do what you're told. It's the government. You got to do it. Yeah. No, you don't. I've always hated that term. You have to. No, I don't. If you're going to tell me I have to do something, you have got to be prepared to kill me to get that to happen, because I will fight you. I'm an arrogant son of a bitch is what I am. And I'm not doing anything for you because you say I must. So if you're not going to pull a gun on me, I'm not doing anything you say. Your father didn't think that way, and that's why it cost him everything. And for the record, everybody, I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding in another country. I'm living in another country. I am living in a Christian country with wholesome Christian values. Panama City is just like Toronto of the 1980s. Opportunity on every street corner, polite and kind people who are all of the same culture and ideology. There's no left-wing ideologues running around this town ripping it apart. The government is building the city up, not tearing it down. I just don't want to live in Canada. I'm sick of Canada's nonsense. I don't like left-wing politics. I don't like BLM or Antifa. I don't like radical feminism. I don't like weak men. I don't want to be around alcoholics, and Lord knows Canada has a lot of those. I'm just not interested in what Canada has to offer, which is nothing, especially if you're someone who has a lot of drive and goals. Canada has nothing to offer me except for pain and misery and suffering. And suffering unnecessarily is not a noble act. Preston P. Toyson, whatever your name is. It's not noble. It's stupid. considering the fact that there are options out there completely and vastly superior to Canada. Why the hell would I live in Canada? I don't care that I'm a Canadian citizen. That means nothing to me anymore at all. Canada has had its chance to treat me and other men with ambition and drive the way we should be treated. And that is the red carpet rolled out so that we can do what we need to do to make money and then hire people and pay taxes into the system. They didn't do that. They got in my way. They got in Chris Sky's way. They got in Kevin O'Leary's way. They got in all of the clever men's way. Now, I'm where I belong. I'm in a country where if I want to sit down with the mayor of the city, I make one phone call. I make one phone call and I can have lunch with the mayor within 2 days' notice. And I know this because I've done it. Okay? Try getting any mayor in Canada to talk to you on the phone. Mayors in Canada won't talk to you on the phone. Politicians won't talk to you. Your members of parliament pretend to care. They're never going to call you back. Nobody is doing their job in politics in Canada. Nobody. You're not represented by anything or anyone in Canada. Here's the question I have for all of you. What the hell are you still doing in Canada? Why are you there? To what avail? What prize do you think that you're going to get? Let me tell you the excuses I hear from people all the time. Ready? My parents are getting old. Okay, so now it's your parents' fault that you don't want to be successful. My kids are in university. Here's my question. Why are they in a Canadian university? The Canadian university are going to turn your kids into left-wing maniacs who will hate you and interfere with every potential future your family tree has. So get them out of university and get them out of the country. My kid just started kindergarten. Okay, so you're going to blame a 4-year-old? It's a 4-year-old's fault that you're not leaving the country? And then the really stupid ones. I got a job. I said, yeah, I know you got a job. You make 38 grand a year. That's not a job. That's a waste of time. My favorite one, I got a dog. I don't want my dog to get afraid on the airplane. How pathetic are you that you're going to blame your dog for your decisions? By all means, make excuses. You have the right to make excuses for yourselves. It doesn't make you right, and it absolutely will not make you successful. So that should answer your question right there. Okay. Pauline Rodriguez, trying to book a consultation with you. Okay. Hey, go to my website right now. KevinJJohnston.com. Randy, we've got someone named Pauline Rodriguez, who is a broker, who's going to be messaging you hopefully in the next 5 minutes. Could you please reply to her immediately? Randy's got this. He's going to talk to you. Thank you for letting me know. All right, let's check some more of your questions here. Anybody who wants to come down to Panama, let me know. You're going to love it here. There's just so much to offer. Yeah, I have a ceremony every morning. There's a window that I have in the building in which I live. It overlooks the canal. And outside of the canal, the actual canal itself, is where the ships will cast anchor because it's shallow water, and they'll sit there. And I count 1, 2, 3, and usually it's between 25 and 50 ships are parked, waiting their turn to go through. And I'm thinking, that looks like about $50 million coming into the city today, just for the first half of the day. It's crazy because the shipping companies have got to pay $1 million before they go into the canal. I'm just, everywhere I look in Panama, there's money, there's opportunity, there's money. It's absolutely everywhere. All right. If you are an employee, you must file taxes. You can't tell them to F off unless you're incorporated. Yeah, that's kind of correct. But like I said earlier in the show, if you are on a T4 or a T5 or a T4A, then we have to make sure that every single expense that legally I can put down on paper is put down on paper. Get you back as much money as we possibly can. How does the government find out businesses don't do tax? The only time the CRA knows of your existence is when you do your first tax return. So let's say you're a kid. Let's say you're 15. I get 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, especially the males, asking me all the time, should I do my first tax return? First question is, are you going to be on T4, or are you working for your dad, or are you working for yourself? I'll get the answer. So if you're working on a T4, you only do your taxes if you want your tax money back. If you're working for your dad, you're working for yourself, your uncle, whatever, on contract, then no, don't ever do your first tax return, ever, period. That way you're never inside the tax system. And regardless of what other podcasters in Canada say, you can exit the tax system anytime that you want. It's not going to be an exit where the CRA forgets about you. It's just an exit where you play the game my way and win. Are all legal expenses tax deductions? Every penny. I gave an example earlier today in the conversation. Write-offs could work this way. If you have a pet monkey that lives in your office in a cage, let me tell you what you can write off with the pet monkey. The monkey's trainer, yeah. The monkey's diapers, because they crap all over the place. The monkey's grooming expenses, the monkey's shampoo, the shampooist for the monkey. What else do we miss here? Veterinarian bills, everything. And people would say, well, why would you write off a monkey? It's because that is part of our business meetings. We use this monkey to entertain our clients and then sell them stuff. You could write off everything to do with the monkey. You write off anything you want. One guy I worked for, he wrote off his fish tank. It was unbelievable. He had a guy, wink, wink, charge him on paper $50,000 for a fish tank. And then each exotic fish that went into the tank, and there were some pretty cool exotic fish. This guy was charging him $25,000 a fish. And it was all part of office furniture, office decor. So that's that. I mean, you could open up two corporations. You could open a fish supply store, and you could open up your corporation for commerce, and your fish supply company can sell goldfish for 100 grand. It's the same thing as modern art. You ever wonder why someone can puke on a canvas and get $10 million for it? It's because it's money laundering. That's all that it is. It's just numbers on paper, everybody. It's just numbers on paper. Please don't be afraid of numbers on paper. And under 100 says, love that you're a straight up man. Straight up and straight. Let's make sure we got both those distinctions in there. I know you're not gay. I'm just messing around here. All right. So Andrew says, I'm in Merida, Mexico. Contact me when we can have some drinks and I'll show you around. All right, Andrew. So when I head over there, my goal is to land in Cancun. I'm going to jump over to Mexico City for a short bit because there's a friend of mine out there who has all those seismic counters all over the city. I'm actually really curious to see what all of his earthquake data is on Mexico City, not because of massive amounts of earthquakes, but because the entire city is sinking anywhere between 1 and 5 inches every single year. The whole city is sinking. So he's got all kinds of really cool data that I want to see. I want to see how all of this works. Apparently, he just has a whole bunch of computer monitors in a small room, but I'm curious to see all this data. And then I'm going to head over to Puerto Vallarta because I've never been. I want to check it out for myself. I'm sure at some point we can figure out that plan. Is it safe to put money in Mexico? Right now, yes. Even though Mexico has a left-wing nutball president, the banks are widely left alone. So yes, it is safe. How do I stop an audit from the CRA? If this is the Graziano that I know, you send me a copy of that letter and I'll get rid of that pain in the ass for you tomorrow, because you know I live for that. Let's get that done. Okay, here we go. This is a good comment. There are funds called CETIA in Mexico, and they pay up to 18%, and they're insured up to 250,000 pesos. Okay, that is pretty damn good. I love it when the government insures investment. Oh, everyone, I know that there's a guy named Mario on Instagram talking smack about me. I don't know this guy. Um, I got a whole bunch of information about this guy that we've just recently found out. I don't know. Is he worth arguing with? I think, well, he reads scripts. Every video he does, he's reading a script. So when someone's reading a script, it ain't him talking. It's whoever wrote the script is talking. Who cares? Like, really, who cares? Patricia, I missed the SEBA loan payment demand. Corporation closed down. I owe $43,000. You got to revive that corporation. You got to sell it to me so I can take that SEBA loan from you. Get that done. Head over to my website, the secondary site, Kevin J. Johnston with a T .biz, please, and fill out the information. I want to take that corporation off your hands, big time. Setting up a corporation in Ontario or Wyoming, why? Well, it all depends what you want to do. Setting up a Wyoming-based corporation is fantastic if you're going to be doing any kind of work in the United States. You know, you want to have some kind of showings to the IRS that, hey, I care about the American system. I want an E2 visa. I want my ITIN number. I want my EIN number. I want to open up a business in the States. Sure, Wyoming is great for that, but Ontario is such a disorganized province. Every facet of the government there sucks at what they do. So having an Ontario corporation where your money is hidden is easy to do, especially if you live in Ontario. If you live in Ontario, just open up the Ontario corporation with a corporate bank account and hide your money there. You're going to be fine. Faisal, I agree. Screw the CRA. And all right, everyone. One thing I was going to say here is, yes, it is true that the CRA does target women. If you remember the video I did January probably of this year, where I read to you directly from the CRA auditor's handbook. I literally just read what they put in there. They do have psychiatrists and psychologists who write letters of threat that will get women's ire up because they know women are going to go to panic mode and scream at their husbands like, just pay it. I don't want trouble. I don't know why people don't want trouble. Trouble's awesome. Trouble is fantastic because if someone is really weak and they're bringing trouble to you, then you're going to win. But that's what happens. They literally are told in the auditor's handbook to divide families by making the woman uncomfortable in the household. So men, if you're having any kind of money trouble, you keep everybody away from your wife because the CRA is going to target her emotional level. Yes, it is true. They do that. Okay, is it worth it to have an LLC in Wyoming? Well, if you're going to be doing commerce in the United States, yep. If you know you're not doing commerce in the States at all, no, unless you just want to have an American business bank account and move money there, then yep, yes, it is. Patty says I would be very difficult to deal with. Probably. I mean, the CRA has a hell of a time dealing with me. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, even law enforcement always had a difficult time dealing with me. Everyone has a difficult time dealing with me. Yeah, it's not that I'm an unkind individual. It's just that I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to do anything that is counter to my knowledge base at all. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. My father used to say to me, "Don't crack your knuckles. Your grandmother has rheumatism because she cracked her knuckles." First off, my grandmother never had rheumatism. He made that up because he wanted to be right. That's all that it was. And then when I got to be 18, I had behind his back took a whole bunch of martial arts courses so that I could kick his ass. I'd walk in the kitchen. Hey, Pops. Oh, yeah, there you go. What do you think? Eh? No rheumatism. Been cracking them for 12 years. Eh? And I would be difficult to deal with. Yes, and if you're going to be in a relationship with me, I am difficult to deal with because I'm not into overly emotional reactions to anything. If I've got a job to do, it's getting done, whether you cry or not. I'm just getting it done. I'm more interested in making money than I am the human condition. So perhaps, Patty, you're right. But just try being a government employee dealing with me. That's where you'd really pull your hair out. Capital gains are reported to the CRA even if I don't tell them. By who? Who? I'm going to go back to being an owl. Who tells them that? Who reports your capital gains to the CRA? Who has access to your capital gains? Who knows about your crypto? Who knows about your gold and your silver? Who knows that you bought 17 tons of copper and sold it for a profit? Who knows these things unless you tell them? God, man. No, they don't. They're not geniuses. They're idiots. They know nothing about your capital gains until you tell them. Can you make a rental property interest tax deductible? You don't want to waste your time with that. You just want to put your rental property into a numbered corporation and pocket every single penny that you make on the rent. That's it. Don't ever report. And that way you don't have to cook up tax schemes in your head because you're not legally obligated to tell the CRA, hi, I bought a rental house and I'm going to charge rent for it, even though you didn't do anything to help me get a mortgage or pay for this place. I'm going to give you money because my mother said I should. Just be silent about it. Buy as many properties as you want, put each one into a numbered corporation, and keep your mouth closed about the income. It's that easy. There's the question. There's the question. So RKA Psalm says, are you serious? Then why should anyone fill a tax return in at all? Exactly. Why? Why do you people do this to yourselves? Filling out a tax return never works to your advantage. It's always something that'll be used against you in the future. Don't you all wish you never wasted your time getting a social insurance number now? It's not like there's going to be any money in the Canada pension plan after 2032 anyway. So this promise of a pension, it's a lie. It ain't coming. Andrew, if I left Canada, closed my corporation, have not paid tax, and I've not worked there since, is this okay? Well, you might want to revive the corporation and sell it to me, so that way there's never going to be any questioning of where money might be for that corporation. But it's not like the CRA can hold your passport, and the CRA simply cannot stop you from entering the country. They have no say over that. The CRA does not work within criminal law. It's all civil law. It would all be lawsuits if they had the guts to sue people, which they don't. So that's your solution. Authentic Vibrations. I like that name. Good for you, Brostar. Thank you for your view, and I'm inspiring, and I thank you very much for saying that. Although I'm not sure if that's the Australian flag or just some stars. But either way, I appreciate the stars. Thank you. Oh, Stoopies says I lie to people. All right, Stoopies, name one lie I've told on this show. Now, in order for you to find any lies, first off, you're going to have to go all the way back to episode 1. There's 79 of these for you to watch, between 2 and 4 hours each one. Write down everything you think to be false. First, that's what you do first. Watch everything, write everything down. Then compare what I've said to what the actual laws are, the actual laws, and then maybe run through what I've said through ChatGPT, if you will. And if ChatGPT says I've given some false information, then come to me with that list. But you're going to have to do your own homework. I ain't doing it for you. Woody says, I want to help you buy corporate debt. Okay, Woody, so get a hold of Randy on the website right now and tell him that. J1, what can they do now that I put all my crypto on a cold wallet? I have 38 grand. Nothing. Nothing. I circulate about 20% of my crypto between the exchanges because I do like to day trade. I like to buy and sell and whatnot. Everything's on a hard wallet that's hidden very, very, very well. Even though I saw the movie Papillion, and I think all of you did too, no, I don't hide the money where the main character did. I hide it somewhere very safe. There's no way for them to know. How would they know unless you call them and tell them? Okay. So become diamond cut. All right, that's a personal thing. Let's talk about that in email. I'm not going to talk about your personal stuff here. Chantel Snyder, I responded to your WhatsApp question. Awesome. Well, and I'm sure I'm going to see it when I'm done the broadcast. Thank you for that. Patty says, unfortunately, it's most women who have the money. That must be based on something I said earlier. Which women are we talking about? Let me know. Clarify that. Thanks. How does one do commerce without applying for a GST and P? Actually, that's not a bad question. When you register a corporation in any province or territory in Canada, you get a 9-digit business number. It's like a social insurance number for the corporation. If you wanted to, you could just put RT0001 at the end of that business number, charge GST, and just go and do commerce. But somebody who checks to see if your GST number is valid, which is free to do on the CRA website, will then call you saying your number is not valid. We're not doing business with you. It's better to have a real GST number, but just never report. I have lawyer friends in Canada willing to advocate when Christian organizations say no God-given rights. Friends in Canada. So that's a question, but who's the question to? Could you rephrase that, please? I appreciate that. Andrew is 3 hours from Cancun. Should be an easy one. Oh yeah, Mexico City was built on a swamp, all right. The brief story is that the Aztecs had some weird legend that if they ever saw an eagle eating a snake standing on a cactus, that would be the place to build the new capital city of Tenochtitlan, which eventually one of them saw, or they say they did. So they built their capital city in a marsh, like a swamp, and it was a really bad move. It was a really bad move because when the Spanish finally showed up, it was extremely easy to defeat them walking on their own causeways. And now the city just keeps sinking into the marsh. It's too heavy. I have a question for you about a case I'm about to appeal. How do you go about it? Okay, so I need more information on that. Give me some more info, please. My father passed away and he had no will. Is it possible to avoid paying probate and any other tax? Yes. I go back and do 10 years worth of the deceased's taxes, make sure that the tax bill is at zero, and that way you're going to be fine. Probate only comes up when it's one of your siblings or an uncle or anyone else that contests the will. Boop, now they get a lawyer. Boop, now everything's in probate, which is ridiculous. So it's always best to discuss these things with your family or your children prior to death so that none of this nonsense takes place. But yes, I do taxes for dead people, and I will go back 10 years. We just tell the CRA the estate is still open and do our thing. Shafi says, can you be accounted, please? I don't know what that question means. Could you rephrase it, please? Right. Yeah, everything with the CRA is contract law, folks. You're dealing with contracts. I don't sign contracts with the CRA. I lie to the CRA, and I'll do it on the phone. And I'm not going to lie to the CRA in writing. I do it on the phone. Tell them, yeah, sure, why not? I'll do that for you. No problem at all. Well, got my fingers crossed. I tell those idiots whatever they want to hear. Just lie to them. They're morons. They don't deserve any truth from you. They don't deserve your cooperation. They don't even deserve to be a member of our species or society. So just tell them whatever you want to tell them. Who cares? If you're not doing a tax return, it makes it impossible to borrow money. There is a way around that. It would take a whole hour to discuss it with you, but there's always private lenders if you choose never to do tax returns. CRA demanded, this is Malona, CRA demanded for me to file my corporate income tax. I filed last year and I've had losses. Okay, so if you have a loss and you file your returns, no problem. You'll probably get a GST credit back. It doesn't matter. Losing is great on paper. How would you do taxes if you are a small business that's not looking to get incorporated? You always want to be incorporated, my friends. Don't do business out of a sole proprietorship. It's pointless. It's just going to hurt you because the sole proprietorship is connected directly to your social insurance number, and that is how they screw you. Whereas if you have a corporation and you get stuck with a lot of corporate debt, I can buy your corporate debt from you. Always do it in a corp. Brenter Skinner, if you have a question, Randy is watching right now. Go to the contact form right now. Randy, somebody named Brent is going to email you now. Please return the email. Appreciate that. Can a bank show up on your credit report? Don't we have full faith in credit? Anybody can show up on your credit report. Anyone. I've proved this already. We ran this experiment where we sent in a whole bunch of complaints to Equifax about one of our clients that wasn't paying anybody. And he ended up with over 40 strikes on his personal credit. Now he has good lawyers, so they got rid of them all. It's actually not that difficult to get the strikes off of there. If the bank is going to put a strike, or anybody is, you have to contact Equifax first on the phone, get a quick sense of what that problem is, and then writing and tell them, I know nothing about this. There's no contract. There's no bill. Where did this come from? Let me see the court order that let you put that there. And they'll go ahead and they'll just remove it. If you have an employment standards judgment against your company and it's sold to you, what happens? Will they pursue the former director? No. I will call them and say, hey guys, what's up? How you doing? What's going on? How's your mama? I bought this corporation and you guys have some employment standards judgment. Let's negotiate. And I'll send them off a letter and I'll get a letter back. And I'll send a letter back saying, these terms are unacceptable. They'll send a letter back saying, we've already made the judgment too bad. I'm going to say everything in Canada is appealable. I'm hereby letting you know I'm going to appeal. They'll send something back saying you can't appeal. I'll say, sure I can. Watch this. Then I'm going to appeal. Then they're going to send me a letter back saying, okay, we'll reduce the rate. I'll send them a letter back saying, that ship has sailed, amigo. Too bad. So sad. I want my appeal date. Pushes everything a year or so down the road. And if they're going to be hyper aggressive, then I'll amalgamate the corporation with another one, and that debt just goes away. Yeah, I've done this before. And if the individual who's working for the labor board or the employment standards office gets really annoying and they're not Canadian born, I'm going to give them a really difficult time. I'm going to say stuff that is going to make them cry. And they'll transfer the case to some team leader who will tell me it's illegal to insult government employees. I'll remind them, no, it ain't. I'll probably insult them, their genitalia, their incapacity to perform in the sack. I'll probably tell them things about their mamas they didn't know and get really childish and vitriolic and mean. It all depends on how that individual decides to handle the case. When they get rude, I get evil. And I really do enjoy it, just for the record. If you work for the government, just work under the assumption that I don't like you and that I don't view you as a human being. I view you as a toy, strictly and only for my own entertainment, and I will get my entertainment value out of you. Wealthy peasant, do I have to keep paying GST that's billed through CBSA when I import from the United States? If you're doing imports from the United States and you got to pay GST at the border, we got to have 2, 3, or 4 corporations for you. One that just does your sales, one that does all your importing, to which you'll have a lot of GST debt. And you can sell that one to me every 2 years. And I take over all the GST debt. It is that simple. Oh, this is a cool one. Hey, I've heard about you from a friend. You're a tax accountant, right? You specialize in taxes. I am not a licensed accountant, and I am not a licensed lawyer. Why? Because I would not be allowed to do the things that I do to win, which I readily do against the CRA. But I have studied tax law for 40 years, criminal and corporate law for 20. I can defeat the CRA any which way. I am fueled entirely by contempt, disdain, and hatred for the CRA and the Canadian government. And hate is a powerful motivator. And I love to hate the CRA. So I'm on their case all the time. Classic. I have to go. The knowledge gain here is increasing every day. Hello from Southern Alberta Avenue. Thank you for being here. Right. Always love talking to Albertans. Oh, my God. Do I have lawyer friends in Ontario? Lawyers have mostly been told by the Law Society of Ontario to avoid me at all costs. That's why I can't live in Ontario, because I can't hire a lawyer. None of them want to represent me. You figure that would bring them a lot of business. There'd be a lot of free press that comes with being my lawyer. I know my old criminal lawyer, Ian McQuaig, he's booked for the next 5 years, right? Because he's got balls. The other lawyers don't. No, I don't know any competent or willing lawyers in Ontario. In fact, they're all useless, except for Ian. He's awesome. I filed notice of objection, so when the CRA collection agent calls, what is best to say? They won't call on the objection. It'll be a letter. So let me see the letter, and we'll tell you what the correct response to what their statement is. Authentic vibrations. Uh-oh. She says, I love you. Did another woman just fall in love with me? It's kind of like that fatal attraction thing. I must really be gorgeous. All right, just playing. Not foolishness. Moving on. Can they stop a reassessment and just attack you? They have to be very careful. The CRA has to be careful. They've got a rule book to follow. Yeah, they break the law every single solitary day, but they still have to abide by their own policies. So they will reassess you, and they will come at you for money based on their reassessment. But they can't just attack you for no reason. I mean, look at me. I've taken more than $200 million away from the CRA in the last 2 years. And they're too afraid to call me. They won't even call me. 60,000 employees have been given a notice. Don't you talk to Kevin J. Johnston. And whenever I do call these people, they always just hang up on me. It's really weird. So be obnoxious. It works. Is it too late to start a corporation? I've had a sole proprietorship for many years. No. We open a corporation and you put all your earnings for the last 6 months into the corporation instead and declare your personal tax at 0 for the year. That's it. It's that easy. All right. Awesome vibrations. It's just continuing to be awesome with the comments. I could sit here and listen to your compliments all night, just for the record. All right. Moving on here to the next guy. Am I doing this on a roll? Sorry, do you mean a roll of fat? I'm not sure what that means. But if anybody wants to watch the replay, it will be on freedomreport.ca, typically about 15, 20 minutes after the broadcast is over. So there we go. Patricia says, person owes thousands of Ks for work done over 2 years, proof in videos, neighbors, workers, witness. What can be done? Too late to put on a lien. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Could you rephrase that, please? I wouldn't mind answering that for you. So, Kevin, I moved my income tax documents to Panama, have my employer not deduct taxes, and I'm good to go. Okay, but your employer still has to agree to that. If your employer is going to let you go on contract, then yeah, you're good to go. I can store your files here in Panama for you. CRA, I invite them down here all the time. All the time. Yeah, Mr. Auditor, come to my office. All right. You're going to have to land at PTY Airport, which is on the extreme east of Panama City. Now we can jump in a car together. You can talk a little bit, get some coffee, get some cake. Man, Panamanians, like there's cake shops on every corner here. So you'll see places called Dulce, Dulce, Dulce is cake. And there's a place here that sells cake. Oh my God, the best cake in the world. It's called Dulcerama. It's in this old slummy part of town. When you walk in the place, you have no idea where you're supposed to go because there's a staircase that's only 2 feet wide. When you walk up the staircase, each step is a different color, but only because the stairs are falling apart. And you get to the top, and they got the best cakes in the world. You know, they're just the best cakes in the world. Now, I bought a couple. I shouldn't buy this as much cake as I do, but getting back to it, yeah. Anybody wants to come down to Panama? Let's do that. Come on down. We'll get some cake, and the coffee here is remarkable. I bought a whole cake 3 days ago for $8. Wow! I shared it with the staff here at the building because it was too much cake. But yeah, anyone who wants to come down here, we'll get some cake. I'll tell the CRA we'll drive to the city of Coronado, which is 2 hours west of Panama, where yes, I do own a property. Yes, there is a warehouse on the property. Yes, it contains files. Yes, it is locked up. Yes, there's a security guard on the grounds. So you idiots who work for the CRA, you're welcome to come down here. If my client says, yes, you can look at the files, you can come on down, buy your own plane tickets, by the way, and we can head out to Coronado, get some cake. And maybe if you're really, really, really nice, I'll let you in the warehouse. Maybe not. See what happens. Okay, so Patty says, not sure I got in this website, but I'm falling in love. And then she finishes that off with kinda. Oh man, did you have to add that last part? I was getting all happy there. All right. Dino says, CRA sending me installments for the next tax year, even though I've paid full tax. Okay, that is a really good point. I've covered this before, but let's cover it again. Each and every one of you out there have an index. They call it the client index at the CRA. It actually shows up on your screen, on the file for you on their screen, sorry, when they're calling you. I call it the sucker index. It's from 000 to 999. The higher the number, the more they're going to call you and say, give us money, give us money, give us money, give us money. Right. So if you cry on the phone, your number goes up. If you apologize, your number goes up. If you make up cockamamie stories about your mother being sick, your number goes up. If you give them money, your number goes up. So they are going to judge you as a sucker. And when they judge you as one, no matter what you pay them, they're going to ask for more because they know you're going to give it to them. That's why I'm telling everyone, just stop giving them money. When they say you got to make a deal, file criminal charges for extortion. Yeah, sue them. Get them off your back. The CRA has to pay the Department of Justice $10,000 a day to represent them. So what if 1 million of us filed lawsuits against the CRA on the same day? 10,000 times 1 million cases? Does that number even register? What would that be? Is that 100 billion? We'd bankrupt both of them. Let's do it. Let's become an army and attack. We don't even have to fire a single shot. It would be cheaper for you to file a lawsuit for $10 million than it would be to buy a pistol and bullets and the fuel to drive to their office and then the subsequent lawyer that you'd have to hire after you get arrested for shooting. Nah, let's just bankrupt them. God, like, it's so easy. It is so easy to do this. We all got to do this combined. Hey, Kevin, I am going to fire myself as the director of a corporation. Who would I send that file off to? You would mail it to yourself and like literally use a stamp on it. Never open the letter. So if you ever get called into court, which will never happen, but you've got that letter with the canceled stamp on it, so it's got a date on it. That's how. There you are. That's your evidence right there. An unopened letter with a canceled stamp is protected my ass a number of times. All right. PJ Sue. Bobby at the CRA and whoever their puppets are watching now must be crapping their pants and talk about you at every staff meeting. Of course they do. I live rent-free in all their heads. Bob Hamilton? Honestly speaking, I'm going to find out very soon. I'm not going to tell you how I will, but I'm going to find out very soon that that this guy's an actor. I'm pretty sure he's just an actor. He's the commissioner of the CRA the same way that I'm a cosmonaut. All right. He just shows up. He talks to the press, if you will, which is not very often, and he'll talk on C-SPAN, but that's all he does. He says a few things and then disappears into the night. So even though his name is on every letter out there, it's not like he's writing them. And there's been conversations I've had with auditors where they say that the letters that they create are just randomly generated. They're templates and they're randomly generated. So yeah, they are. But there are judges in Canada who are terrified of me as well, because they know I see through them. They know that I understand the courts in Canada are a for-profit corporation which no longer serve any purpose in reference to protecting the country from itself, protecting the country from the government, and does nothing to protect the citizens of the nation. So everyone says to me, what do we do about all this crime out there? I've told you all what to do many, many times. Learn how to fight, get in a really good shape, learn how to shoot a gun, learn how to use a knife. You know, you guys, all of you out there need to improve yourselves something fierce. It's not like the cops are going to protect you in Canada. It's ridiculous. And what the hell are we paying taxes for, by the way, if that's what we get from our court systems? Bunston says, CRA had issued a BS garnishment letter to my employer and I felt forced onto a payment plan, but now they're adding penalties and interest and they continue to ask for more. I need them to stop. You sue your employer because your employer is stealing from you. Your employer has no right to take your money at all because the CRA did not use a court order. Your boss is a coward and a scumbag for taking your money. When the CRA issues a garnishment letter, it's just a letter. It's not a court order. It's not a lawful command. It's a fucking letter. That's all that it is. If you're an employer out there and you cave into the pressures of the CRA, which is not pressure, it's a letter, you are a gutless, spineless jellyfish. You do not deserve employees. And when people come to me about garnishment letters, I represent them in court against you pro bono. And believe me, I'm getting so fed up with the level of cowardice in the country that I'm going to start harming businesses something fierce. I've got a plan in place to start really causing egregious amounts of damage to really bad people, all using the internet. Don't become the focus of my rage, okay? Don't steal money from your staff. I'm going to put you out of business. And I'm going to enjoy doing it. It's going to be my punishment. It's going to be my way of balancing the scales, if you will. I despise cowards. I am a big believer in the battle cry of "I'll have no cowards by my side." Employers who steal from their employees because the CRA says to without a court order, which they never get, are cowards. You deserve to be on the unemployment line. How do I convince my employer to put me on contract and pay me through my numbered company? Show him the savings. Show him the savings. Look at all the money that he has to deduct and pay to the government on your behalf, plus all the CPP and EI corporate matching he's got to do. Show him how much money he's going to save not having you on payroll, because right now the CRA is actually not accepting any of the payroll deductions as something you can write off anymore. But if you're on contract, he can write off every expense, every invoice you write to your employer, he can write that off. If I want to start a business, can you set it up in a named corp or must it be numbered? If you go with a named corporation, you have to do what's called a nuance search, Nuans search. Could take a day, could take a year to find the name that you want to use. But with a numbered corporation, you can do business as any name you want. Yeah. And the reason the numbered corporation is so powerful, everybody, is because it's just a number. It's real easy for the CRA to simply ignore numbered corporations. Always just get numbered corporations. They're the greatest invention ever. And Reggie, how do I say this name here? Regis Korchinski says, "You're amazing, Kevin, and thank you very much for that." Just checking more of your questions here. How do I connect with you to make you the holder of all my tax documents? If you're talking about shipping your tax documents here to in Panama, then just hit me up if you could, please, at Kevin J. Johnston, my name, Kevin J. Johnston with the T.com. What's my website? Good question. KevinJJohnston.com. Everybody who knows my website, could you please put it into the chat rooms right now? Greatly appreciate that. Let me check the Rumble chat right now. All right. Political Dove says, my property is in a holdco and has a mortgage. Does your strategy work where I open up a numbered company, add it to title, and then take my holdco off? Okay, the thing is, why would you want to remove your holdco? That's a question I would have for you. If you have your house in a holding company and the holding company has never done taxes, then it's safe there. You don't have to add another corp. But the more names you have on title, the safer it is for you. So you could, to really protect yourself, is have 10 numbered corporations, none of which do business, and have 9 of those corporations be on title. And then corporation number 10 sues all 9 and can put a lien on the property for twice the value of the house. And now you've got your own lien on your own property protected by all these corporations. There's so many ways to play this game. Fit Chick, question. If I have an American numbered corporation and I'm here in Canada, how do I funnel money into it without crossing the border? Do I have to load it on prepaid Visa cards or a US account here in BC? Most American bank accounts allow transfers directly from Canada. Most Canadian banks will do wire transfers directly to the United States. Just do a wire transfer. You don't have to justify yourself to anybody about that. The CRA doesn't ask about wire transfers, for the record. If you're going to send 400 grand to the United States, just send it. But you got to make sure you got a bank account there and it's in your name. I wouldn't send it to somebody else's bank account. I'm being told here Kevin should be prime minister. I don't want that job. I don't want that job. I did. There's a day I did. There is a day that I would love to have been in a leadership position to guide the country down the right pathway. But it just, you know what it is? Canadians are suffering, but I don't think that Canadians have suffered enough yet to be able to realize that a guy like myself is what they need. And for me, it would actually be a pay cut. I'm doing really well here in Panama. I don't want a Canadian government job because now I'd have to be a leader in an extremist far left society where you know that I would talk to the far left the same way Donald Trump does. You know that I would make a big production out of insulting everybody who's on that particular side of the fence. And you know that I'd be going out of my way to do business deals with as many European and very rich African countries as possible, where we got the balance or the higher balance of the money, and that there'd be a lot of commentary about the fact that I'm a patriarch. And what else would there be? Oh yeah, he's going to be a settler again, and so on. Yeah, as funny as that would be, I don't want the job. I don't want the job. I'm going to make more money doing this. My employer is in the USA. Will CRA try to send them a garnishment letter? Is that legal? Yeah, well, the CRA can send letters to anyone they want. You just don't have to do what they say. Your American company is not going to do what the CRA says. CRA has no jurisdiction over anything, not even in Canada, just for the record. Just going to keep checking your commentary here. Good question. Alice Semeni says, you mentioned something about not declaring capital gains. What if it's a hold co that was only made to hold real estate? Okay, your holding company, if it holds just one property and you want to sell that property, you sell the corporation and the property goes with it. Or you sell the property out of the corporation, delay your tax return for 3 years, and then just put 0 on the page and send it in. Ta-da! I kind of want a clown in the background now going, ta-da! That's it. It's that easy. The CRA are not geniuses. They're not going to figure that out. Any lawyers in Nova Scotia? Oh my God, just Nova Scotia has a problem. It's weird. I've spoken to about 150 plus males, not men. Is there something in the water out there? Did somebody put lead, phosphorus, and mercury into every single lobster that gets pulled out of the ocean? Because the men in Nova Scotia, they cry like women. What is going on the east coast of the country? No, I don't know any good or tough lawyers on the east coast. I think they're too busy drinking mercury to keep themselves in la la land. There's no testosterone on the entire east coast. I don't get it. No, I don't know any strong men out there. It's sad, but true. Oh, yes, you're right, everybody. If I ran for prime minister, somebody would definitely put a bullet in my head. You're absolutely right on that. And Armas Dantes says that they only want puppets in charge, and since I'm a true leader, they wouldn't let me win. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. Do I need help in Panama? I need a maid. Yeah, I'm actually prospecting a lot of real estate right now. And for those who are really, really interested in this project, I'm heading out to a couple small towns over the next 3 weeks to get my hands on between 500 and 1,000 acres of land. I'm going to be opening up a motorcycle training academy here because I live beside the canal. I could buy motorcycles for $900, brand new, with no problems. They don't even have oil in them yet. That's how new they are. I'd like to open up a huge motorcycle academy, like a huge motorcycle academy, the type of thing where you've got dirt roads and paved roads, and I got a big testing center where you can actually learn how to do this. And there will be entertainment venues on there, bars and restaurants. There will be axe throwing and mini bowling and all the other really cool things that are out there right now. It'll be a place you can live for a week or two to learn how to ride a motorcycle and spend lots of money while you're there on all the other entertainment options. It's going to be a massive moneymaker, and it's going to put Panama on the map. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. Oh, Stacy, there's at least 15 appointments left. Go to my website right now and grab one for you. I opened up a whole bunch. One fanatic, fill out the form right now. Randy is standing by to answer any and all questions you have on that form. Can you get away with people and relatives gifting you money because there's no gift limit on tax? Do you care? Now, really, do you care? If someone just hands you cash, that's not earnings. Don't even tell them about it. This comes from the legend that the CRA is watching you like Big Brother from the book 1984. No, they're not at all. If you get money from someone, put it in the bank, put it in your pillow, turn it into Bitcoin, do whatever you want with it. But no, you don't have to put gifting on your tax return. All you're doing is telling the CRA you have more money. That's all you're doing. You should be putting nothing down except for whatever's on the T4, and then a boatload of expenses to wipe out whatever's on the T4. You should not ever put down relatives gifting you money or cars or houses. Nobody's business. It's no one's business. There we are. Question. My wife does my books. Can she have a numbered company and invoice so I can get her off payroll? Yeah. Nobody should be on payroll. Let me do your payroll. That's what I do. I do payroll out of Alberta. It's highly successful. Everybody is now, all of our clients who come to us for payroll, they're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's fantastic. Hello, Kevin. Question. If the auditor has already clawed back our CEWS subsidies 2 years ago, is it too late to file an objection letter or to repeal it now? Here's what you do. You take the same tax return that you've already filed for those 2 years, change it by $5, send it back in. They will assess it. Now you can appeal it. You got to wait for the new assessment. Whenever we want the CRA to allow us to appeal, even 10 years ago, we will send in that tax return from 10 years ago 100 times if we have to, until eventually one of those idiots looks at it and says, oh, okay, blah, 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 there's the new numbers, and someone assesses it. Now we can appeal. That's how you play that game. Am I in Philadelphia? No. No, I lived in Philadelphia in 1996 for about 5.5 months. The hell kind of a question is that? No, I'm not in Philadelphia. I want to pay off my parents' help. I need a lawyer's, or sorry, you want to pay off your parents' house? You need a lawyer's help. You only need a lawyer to get the house moved into your numbered corporation. And then from there, you can pay off the house. That's not a problem at all. That's all you need them for. That's about $1,500. PJ Sue says, honestly, Kevin, all the egregious things that happened to you in Canada catapulted you to where you are now. Of course it did. I'm looking for vengeance, but I'm also looking to get rich. I mean, yeah, I love being wealthy. It's the kind of thing where there was a day when living in Canada, this is about 15 years ago, where I would take my kids to McDonald's and I'd be really, really nervous tapping my card to buy them little hamburgers. I didn't know 15 years ago if I even had $6 in my bank account. I hate being broke. I can't stand it. I love being wealthy. I've been wealthy 3 times. This particular time, I am on my way for my life goal of 100 million. I will be there in less than 5 years. It's not going to take long. Being wealthy is fantastic because of the number of options that it opens up for you. I got invited to go and hang out with a bunch of millionaires in Bocas del Toro. It's going to cost me $600 for a plane ride there. and a plane ride back about maybe 350 for a decent hotel. Do I care? No, no, because to me, that's like 30 bucks from 10 years ago. Being wealthy is absolutely awesome. So the Canadian government pushed me towards wealth. Completely different mindset. You are absolutely correct to say that. Canada is so broken, my bank took 4 days to get me 30,000 in cash to lower my balance, and they tried to deny giving it to me without saying what it was for. My safe wasn't a good enough answer. What's it for? Equipment upgrades. Vague. Don't get your back up. Vague. Or you could tell them stuff. I mean, I remember when I took $15,000 out of an account once, and they're asking, what is this money for? I said, look, I got all excited. Okay, you're not going to believe this, guys. All right. All right. Okay, look, I'm in this club. It's awesome. All right. What we do is we put large objects in our anus. Now, I need to get this surgery done to allow me to put a 2-liter Coke bottle in my anus. Okay. And they only take cash. So, I just don't want to hear that. And why'd you ask? Why did you ask? You're asking the most obnoxious man in Canadian history what he's going to do with $15,000 in cash. What answer did you think you were going to get? Idiots. So she gave him my cash and walked away all disgusted, and maybe she's scarred for life. Moron. What are you going to do with it? All right. The only thing that keeps me broke is worrying about the Canadian government. You have the right plan or permit. There we go. Can you sue your employer for wage garnishment? Yeah. Tort theft. Absolutely you can. And you should too. Bank of Canada is asking customer to prove where you get the cash. You don't have to prove that. That's not the law. It's policy. Who cares what anybody's policy is? If you don't work for the bank, their policies do not pertain to you. All right. Alisami's asking, do I have any comments on land transfer taxes, especially in Toronto, where it's double the tax? Lawyer just sent it in where I transferred personal property to a corporation. What should I have done to avoid tax? All right, everyone, here's how it works. If you want to transfer a property from your name to a numbered corporation, especially in Toronto, here's you. You're on title on your house. And then we just simply add your numbered corporation to title. Add. And then 30 days later, remove you. They don't like that because they don't get their land transfer tax. I don't care what the Canadian government likes and doesn't like. That's how you do it, my friend. The CRA is going to entirely fund that goal. That's for damn sure. Can I buy a Corvette under my company and use it for marketing? Yeah. Yeah. Just put a little sticker on the license plate. It says, like, buy my stuff. Congratulations. It's a billboard advertisement. Yep. All right. Kevin, what is the minimum debt a corporation must have for you to make it worth buying? Well, I mean, I'll take any corporation that people want to get rid of. Sometimes we take corporations that don't even have debt. The person just doesn't want them anymore, and they don't want the letters or the phone calls coming in from the CRA. There's a minimum charge, which is $10,000 Canadian, no tax. That's the minimum charge to take the thing over from you, because we do a 10% fee on the entire amount of your entire debt. So you owe $1 million, you're going to pay me $100K. If you owe $100,000, you're going to pay me $10K. If you owe $90,000, it's still $10K. Why? Because the legal fees are high. That's all. The legal fees are high, so we do a minimum of $10,000, but then you're done. Patty says, I want my kids to have my house. Patty, whatever you want them to have, you put it into a numbered corporation, and we write really, really, really good corporate bylaws for you, which illustrate who gets what upon your death. Heaven forbid that you go anywhere anytime soon. My God, everybody, look at this. It's already 2 hours. You believe 2 hours have just flown by? I can't. It's crazy. My butt's not even sore from sitting in this chair. But I've been very interested in answering all of your questions tonight, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you being here asking questions. So, God, thank you, all of you, for being here. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show that runs absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on freedomreport.ca. Don't help the CRA steal from you. Keep your money where it belongs, and that's in your pocket. Good night.